Remember when those Stranger Things kids were playing Dragon's Lair and somehow did not immediately explode into flames from the stress of trying to time a Cartoon Knight's jump to the left? Yeah, well, that triggered something deep inside of me, like a forgotten VHS memory, and I thought, hey, you know what I miss? Spending 50 cents to die instantly. So naturally, I bought a Dragon's Lair cabinet off Facebook Marketplace because repairing 40-year-old broken arcade games is way cheaper than therapy. I managed to talk the seller down to $1,700 because I already owned some of the parts. The seller assured me, like a man with no consequences, that it would be packed well for shipment. And let me tell you, nothing inspires confidence like hearing, "We used a lot of blue painter's tape." Not straps, not rope, just the non-stick sorcery used to hold up posters in dorm rooms. On delivery day, the big boys from Beltman Logistics showed up and gently lowered this medieval paint machine from the truck. Meanwhile, my neighbors stared from behind their carports like I was harboring a nuclear missile disguised as a Don Bluth cartoon. I could see it in their eyes. Honey, it's happening again. The guy with the time machine is back. Call the HOA. And maybe animal control just in case. As we begin delicately peeling back the layers of painter's tape that have lovingly, but pointlessly, mummified our Dragon's Lair coin door and bezel, it feels less like unboxing an arcade game and more like unsealing a sarcophagus. Like, am I going to find a LaserDisc or a curse because it's giving me Boris Karloff vibes but with more particle board? Once we get past the adhesive shenanigans, we start taking stock of the cabinet itself. The multi-angled marquee design, because Don Bluth was apparently allergic to rectangles, is held in place with two weirdly angled pieces of wood. One is fine, just needs to be screwed in. The other, gone. Just gone. Like it saw what this project was becoming and escaped to live a better life as a skateboard ramp. But fear not, I have fresh plywood in the garage. Because I'm that kind of person now. The kind of person who just has plywood. The entire Home Depot staff yells out my name whenever I walk into their store. Now, opening up the back of the machine should be easy, but the second I do it, I am immediately overwhelmed. I just stand there, absorbing the darkness and dust, and wondering why every vintage arcade machine smells like ghost farts. I have to run inside. I'll take a breath, play a game or two of Discs of Tron, then run back outside, because tragically, I am the adult in charge of this decision. While rummaging around inside the cabinet, half finding useful components, half dissociating, I absent-mindedly graze the interlock power button like I'm in some sort of foggy arcade-themed fever dream. I'm not totally sure I'm awake. I might be dead. This might be purgatory and God is a LaserDisc. But then I see it. I am snapped back to reality by the single most repulsive, aggressively filthy air filter I have ever seen in my life. This filter has seen things. It has PTSD. I look at it and it looks back at me like, you came here to fix me? And honestly, fair question. We notice the monitor looks totally fine, except for the small, teeny tiny, potentially catastrophic detail that it's being held in place by exactly 2 loose bolts, like it's clinging to this cabinet the way I clung to my GPA my senior year. Nothing says structural integrity like a 100-pound glass death square dangling over the void by what I can only describe as a prayer and a shrug. So, it's all there. The power supply, the game board, the marquee bracket that looks like it lost a fight with a cheese grater, and a serial number that surely means something, like maybe it unlocks a hidden level in the game, or lets you summon Don Bluth in the mirror if you say Dirk the Daring 3 times. And then, buried deep inside, we find the coin box, and it's not filled with coins, it's filled with a zillion tiny screws, mismatched bolts, rusty washers, and whatever else some man in 1984 took off the cabinet and thought, you know what, I'm going to save this, someone's going to want this someday. And now it's someday, and I'm that someone, and I'm here like, no thanks, pretty sure I don't want your corroded screw graveyard, Todd. While I won't take your haunted coin box, I will take a graveyard full of LaserDisc players. Just pile them up. Bury me in them like a pharaoh if you must. Our LaserDisc player is reportedly not working and also very dirty, so we tackle the very dirty part with some simple green and Windex, which is basically how I clean everything, including my soul. The not working part, That's going to be solved using technology that sounds fake but is absolutely real. A Dexter board, which simulates a LaserDisc player using 21st century wizardry, and something called a Merlin DX board, which again sounds like a villain from He-Man, but is actually a tiny miracle of modern retrotech that lets us play other LaserDisc games besides Dragon's Lair like Space Ace, Cliffhanger, and please God let this boot up Simulator 3000. And since we're in this whole cleanse the sins of the 1980s headspace, we move on to the bottom of the cabinet, which is so dusty and critter-filled, it might as well be Narnia if Narnia had asbestos. But my handheld vacuum is fully charged, which never happens, and I'm feeling unstoppable. Mid-suction, something shiny catches my eye, and for a brief moment I think, Todd forgot a nut? I win! But no, it's not a nut. It's a quarter. A real, actual United States quarter. And just like that, I'm 25 cents richer, and now technically, I've only paid $1,699.75 for this machine. I love a discount. Did you know Family Guy's Peter Griffin auditioned to be Dirk the Daring, but they said he wasn't daring enough? Which makes sense. Dirk fights dragons, Peter fights his own pants. One thing we're not going to do today is wrestle the power supply. Not this guy. I've already stared into the abyss that is arcade wiring, and the abyss stared back, and then I made a custom wiring harness with a modern switching power supply, like a tech-savvy warlock. It just plugs right in! I also found a few wires that had clearly given up on life and were just sort of shoved into their connectors like a kid cramming homework into a backpack, so I recrimped them, gave them a quick pep talk, and popped them back in with the confidence of a guy who once fixed a broken lawnmower with a chainsaw. Now behold, this is the old linear power supply. Sad, dusty. And down below, in the depths of the cabinet where only gremlins and shame reside, we are now fully plugged into what the kids on the forums call a tasty new switcher. But the final boss here is the tiny little female power connector on the LaserDisc player. I built it a male counterpart because I am Cupid, but for lonely electronics. Let's plug it all in, let's fire this sucker up, and let's see if science, love, or raw dumb luck wins the day. Now join me in real time as we pull on the interlock switch, juicing up the machine. We're gonna see if this thing's working. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna go walk around the machine, look at the monitor, see that this display is on, that's a good sign. Let's get a good look there. That doesn't seem normal, but let's look here. I don't see anything on the screen. Just hanging out. What's up? Nope. Oh, it's lighting up a little bit, but like, that's not a game. I don't see Dirk or Daphne or a dragon or anything. Okay, so let's take a look at maybe, what if we credit? I hear the credits. Listen to that. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and when I filmed it, I enjoyed it. Look at that, so many credits. Okay, so the credits works, the game's kind of working. So we grab our Dexter board because every now and then, even vintage hardware needs a little emotional support. I bought this board 2 years ago like some kind of arcade soothsayer who knew this very moment would arrive, and let me tell you something, I gave it a female harness so I could swap it in and out with the LaserDisc player like I'm running a very specific dating service for obsolete electronics. Now, we plug in the Merlin ROM board, which is literally designed to talk to Dexter. Like, they go to brunch, they text, they share secrets. Merlin is like, hey, Dexter, you want to play Dragon's Lair? And Dexter's like, only if we skip the scenes with the bridge. So we've plugged everything in, we've lit the sacred incense, we've recited the standard prayer to St. Don Bluth. Let's see what happens. Will it boot? Will it explode? Will it play a blurry medieval cartoon that eats your quarter in 11 seconds? Okay. Oh, yeah! There's still no picture. Oh, man. Okay, this is a good sign. All right. So let's grab our test pattern generator. We flip it on, and we definitely see a test pattern, which is a great sign. It's like the monitor whispering, hey, I'm alive. I just got a lot going on emotionally. We start cycling through the patterns. Now, I don't think any of them have official names, but I've taken the liberty of naming them myself. There's Horizontal Jail, Vertical Jail, The Eye of Sauron, and my personal favorite, the worst version of Tetris ever. Then there's one that's just a screen full of dots, and I call it the Dots because I'm a poet. So the monitor works, which means it's probably the NTSC converter board's fault, that magical little rectangle that lets old arcade monitors display regular composite video like it's a Saturday morning cartoon in 1987. I look at the diagram and it's blurry, like squint until you cry blurry, so instead of decoding ancient runes, I do the sensible thing. I yank the board out and I just look at it. The BNC plug at the top left is all wobbly, like it's been through something. I reseat the cable, jam the board back into place, and tighten down that connector. But will it work? I don't know. But it does work, which means I probably should not trust these gnarly old BNC cables, so they're being sent to bed without dinner. Pretty sure Ace Electronics... Man, they should fix that sign. It's really hard to say it without the O. I'm pretty sure Ace Electronics has replacement BNC cables and connectors because, of course, they do. They have all of them. I walk in and say BNC splitter, and they say how many, like it's toilet paper during a hurricane. I'm on the hunt for a BNC splitter because I want to send the video signal to 2 monitors, one inside the cabinet and one on top like it's an 80s arcade game, because it is, but also because I can. Anyway, let's replace the connector on our NTSC board because it's wobbly, like your youngest kid just left for college wobbly. We pop the old connector out, pop the new one in, very official, very technical, and then we shake it, just in case. Last but not least, we grab the 2 brand new BNC cables straight from the sacred temple of Ace Electronics and hook everything up to our 2-monitor dream machine. And can you guess what happens next? It works on both monitors, yay! But wait, there's more work to do. If you appreciate what you've seen so far, please drop us a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Peace!